The following public service program is brought to you by the Metropolitan Library System. And now, Read About It with your host, B.J. Williams.
We have a great show for you today, including an interview with novelist Jennifer Blake. But first, I'm going to tell Doug what I've been reading while he's been on vacation.
All right. That's fair enough, I guess.
Well, it's going to have to be fair enough, Doug. The first book I want to talk about is called Blood and Roses, One Family's Struggle and Triumph During the Tumultuous Wars of the Roses. Now that is
I thought that was two families' struggles.
Well, it's the Paston family. There were lots of them.
Oh, okay.
It's an extremely pedestrian title for what is really a very interesting book. The Paston letters were first published in the late 1700s. They are a group of family letters by the Pastons. They were minor gentry in Norfolk, bent on rising as far as they possibly could through marriage, civil suits, and anything they could figure out. The letters actually cover about 70 years. That's 4 generations. People didn't live as long back then as they do today. And during the last part of the Wars of the Roses, they actually ended up being favored by Henry Tudor, Henry VII, but they kept trying to get favor of whoever was king. This was a time when if it's Thursday, it must be King Edward, and if it's, so on. But most of their letters have to do with trying to take advantage of this, or they file civil suits trying to get some property of people that were tenuously related to them who had died childless, and so on and so forth. It displays really the anxiety of people whose world is shaking, because the end result of the 15th century part of the Wars of the Roses was a complete upheaval of medieval certainty. It was just completely destroyed, and they were in the modern era by the time Henry VII became a king of England. And it's really intriguing. If you're at all interested in English history, I would highly recommend it. Despite the pedestrian title, Helen Castor, who is a professor at an English university, actually writes a really good book. It's very, very entertaining.
She may not have titled it that. Maybe an editor did that.
Right. Well, if so, she needs a new editor because it's a beautifully written book. It is very intriguing. It will catch your interest. You'll get pulled right in, especially if you like any kind of multi-generational sagas. It's got everything.
It's not too academic in its approach.
No, it is not academic at all in its approach. It's really written a lot more like a novel. Although the information is all accurate, and it sets the stage for the letters that are quoted in there, so that you really understand. And it helps because the Pastons are partly modern and partly, my word, I didn't know they cared about things like that. So, well, we've got a library spot coming up. When we get back, you can tell me what you've been up to.
Also some history.
Great.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Donna Morris, Executive Director of the Metropolitan Library System. 2007 will mark Oklahoma's centennial year. 100 years is a long time, but public libraries have been part of this community since the very beginning. And we're still exactly the same as we've been all along, your primary source for information and entertainment. The delivery methods are different now than in the early days. Today we provide free wireless access, free internet access, DVDs, CDs, free programming for people of all ages, along with the traditional books, magazines, and newspapers. But what hasn't changed is our dedication to helping you find exactly what you need. Librarians continue to be the guides to the up-to-date world of information, and our librarians at MLS are the best in the business. So visit your neighborhood MLS library soon, and as they say in the world of libraries, come check us out.
We're back, and Doug now is going to tell us what he's been reading while he's been on vacation.
Well, I did. I read this on vacation. Part of our trip was down through New Mexico into Lincoln County and then up to Fort Sumner. And if you have any interest in the American West, Lincoln County means Billy the Cow. Billy the Kid, right, the Lincoln County War of 1877 and 78. which was about money. I mean, they all are, aren't they? The bottom line. But the book I wanted to talk about, and I had this with us on the trip, so we could look at the illustrations and kind of catch up a little bit on the fracas. It's called The West of Billy the Kid. It's by Frederick Nolan, published by University of Oklahoma Press a few years ago. Heavily illustrated with photographs and some map drawings. It's a very good book. Nolan is an Englishman who, when he was a kid, got interested in Billy the Kid and has stayed with it, and he's probably the foremost expert on the Lincoln County War now. He also has a book of documents that came out of the conflict. The West of Billy the Kid, though, is very straightforward. It's very easy to read. There's a lot of sly humor in the book as it goes along. One of the things that I enjoyed the most about it was the pictures.
Well, of course.
Because, well, I mean, it helps to put a face to names.
Right.
And you're always surprised at the way some of these people look in this book. For instance, my image of the cattleman John Chisholm was John Wayne from the movie Chisholm. Well, the guy did not look at all like John Wayne. He looked more like Ron Howard, actually, when Howard had a little bit more hair. So that kind of thing is fun. One of the misleading things, I have read this book before, were the photographs of the city of Lincoln, New Mexico. Because, especially the ones that were taken in the 1890s or in the early 20th century, there are several in there, because the town doesn't look like that anymore. It's
Really?
yeah. Well, I mean, the buildings do, a little bit more dilapidated, of course. But the setting is entirely different. I mean, the trees have grown up. It's not the commercial center that it was in the 19th century. And so, they haven't cleared everything off. It's very overgrown. It's a mountain village rather than a city on the plains. So that kind of came as a surprise, too, when we actually got to the place. Another thing that Nolan covers, he talks about the legend of Billy the Kid as opposed to the reality. Now, most of the book is the reality. And towards the end, then, he starts talking about the legends and the legend makers, beginning with the man who shot the kid, Pat Garrett, who supposedly wrote a biography of the kid. He got a newspaper man to ghost it for him, and they made up a lot of stuff.
That sounds awfully familiar. I think that's still done today.
I think it probably is. It's a good book. It's The West of Billy the Kid by Frederick Nolan. Recommend it highly.
Thanks, Doug. Coming up next, we have Kelly Riett talking with Ronna Davis about a book for our teens.
Hello, thanks for joining us today. Ronna Davis from the Edmond Library is here. She's the teen librarian because she enjoys teen literature. She does a lot of other things, but I'm thankful that she's here today. You brought So You Want to Be a Wizard by Diane Duane. Tell me why you brought this one today.
I brought this book, Kelly, because this is exactly the kind of book that I most enjoy reading. Of course, I especially enjoyed reading it when I was a little bit younger, but I also enjoy it now. When I picked it up, it just went just like that. I mean, it took me no time at all to read this book. And of course, that was enjoyable too, because I like to read a lot of books and not just be involved in one. So this book happens to be represent the 20th anniversary of the publishing of this book. And it predated Harry Potter by about 20 years. But the concepts are rather similar, of course, and that involves a wizard, and some of the kinds of plots are very harrowing in it. And so there are a lot of similarities.
The protagonist, I would expect, this to be kind of a boy-driven book, but the main character is a girl.
That's right, which is really good, because girls need wizards to identify with also. And of course, she's a very courageous and brave person, because whenever she's presented with a new situation, she just rises to the occasion. And so she's everything that you would want in a protagonist of either gender.
The cards are really stacked against her in the beginning, and I think that may be what helps the reader be on her side. And and wish that she can overcome, you know, see, you could tell I'm only through about the first
That's
50,
right.
100
Well, the
pages.
beginning is one of the best parts of the book because it starts out and she's kind of being hounded by these bullies, and she
Right.
takes refuge in a library, and she finds this book, and the book is So You Want to Be a Wizard, and she says, oh, well, this is, you know, some novel.
This is
You know,
bunk.
she opens it up and she follows it and she finds that it's true.
It's really an exciting book. I've only gotten through the first part of it, but Ronna recommends it, so I bet it's going to be good. It's called So You Want to Be a Wizard by Diane Duane. You can find it at your local bookstore or at your favorite library.
Coming up next, Doug Benton will be talking with Phil Talbert about a book you can check out at your library.
Hey everybody, I'm here today with my oldest friend in the library system, and I don't mean by years. Well, yeah, I mean we're both pushing it here. Phil and I were in library school together. This is Phil Talbert. He's the manager of the Capitol Hill Library. Phil always finds some of the most unusual things to bring in, and he has brought in a book today that has one of the best titles I've ever seen. What is it?
Well, the title of the book is Job Interview Tips for People with Not So Hot Backgrounds. That's about as clear as it can get.
That is pretty straightforward.
Yep.
There, not so hot backgrounds.
Absolutely.
So if you have to go in for a job interview and you're still wearing the handcuffs,
You might want to.
This is the book you want to
This
look
is going
at
to be the book to
first.
help you to get through that process. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I assume that that's what it is then.
Yes.
It's a job interview book.
Yes. It sort of gives you an opportunity to look at yourself and what issues you may have had in your past that might be a problem. What they call red flags is what they call them in the book. And the idea is to be able to utilize all of your interview skills and learning about the company that you might want to go to see if you can get employed there, and work with those people and talk with them about your background and some of the issues that you might have had to deal with, but focusing on how you have tried to come through those issues and make your life better, which will then enable them to look at you in a different light, hopefully being able to see some possible potential, and if they can sense that you maybe have an idea that you're going to be able to do a good job for that employer, you might be more in line to get the job.
It sounds actually like a book anybody who's
I
going
think
in
so.
for a job interview would want to look at.
Right.
Maybe it helps you find out some things about yourself.
Yes.
Even if your background is hot,
Yes,
rather
yes.
than not so hot.
That's right.
Are there special features to the book that?
Well, one of the things it gives you is a list of possible questions that you might have to deal with, about 101 questions on different categories, and kind of gives you an idea of how to prepare for those questions and what to say, and you can give yourself a chance to use a recorder of some type to record your responses to those questions. So that would be a good feature. And then there's some things to avoid as well, about 35 of those kinds of things to stay away from. And if they ask you those questions, how to be prepared to answer them, things like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is just one of many books that the library has
Yes.
on job preparation.
Numerous books, not only on job preparation, but on career planning, things of GED books, and then, of course, resume planning and preparation, cover letter books, things like that. Yeah, look, quite a bit in the materials in the library.
Again, the book is, what is it called now?
Job Interview Tips for People with Not So Hot Backgrounds.
Very honest approach.
Yes.
Phil Talbert's been with us, and you've been with us, and thank you very much.
Coming up next is Doug Benton and Elizabeth Kessler. They'll be talking about one of the films that you can check out at your library.
Hello there, everybody. I am here with Elizabeth Kessler from the library's Material Selection Office, and we're going to talk about a movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Your movie.
Whether you like it or
I
not, we're going
know.
to talk about this movie. This is one that I chose. It's a French film directed by Henri-Georges Clouzot.
That's the
And,
first strike.
Mid 50s. Liz doesn't like it's black and white.
It's black and white. It's foreign.
It's
film.
foreign. You have to read
I have to
subtitles
read.
on this. So, and it's kind of scary. I don't know if you like scary stuff or not. Do you like scary
You know
movies?
what? I don't think it was more scary as it was suspenseful.
Yeah, very much so. It's about two women who work in a school.
School,
School. It's a boys' school, I think. It's just boys. And the husband of one of them is the headmaster at the school, and is jerk a good word for it?
Yeah,
At least,
yeah.
I mean, he's a sadist, really, is what he is. He loves to torment his wife, and the two women plot together to kill him. And after they do, they drown him in the bathtub,
Yes.
and they dump the body in the swimming pool, thinking that it will be discovered.
and, the next
and
day.
then it disappears.
And it disappears.
Here's a little clip from the movie. Take a look at this, and you'll see one of the wife finding the body. Okay, no, it's not supposed to be in that bathtub.
No.
And
no.
so they don't know. And so the mystery is, how did it get there? I think you said you didn't think it was scary, but very suspenseful.
Right.
Or I don't know if you said very, but you said
Well.
suspenseful. And I agree with that. I mean, I think at times it's a little scary, but it kind of leans a little heavily on some of the Gothic cliches of the long, dark hallway and that
Hallways,
sort of thing,
yes.
just before we see this here. It was written by a couple of French writers. Alfred Hitchcock was very interested in buying the novel that this is based on, but Clouseau beat him by a couple of hours. So the guys turned around and they wrote another novel for Hitchcock, which became Vertigo.
Wow.
So it has kind of
Can
a...
you imagine what Hitchcock would have done with that?
Yeah, I think you would have had a lot of
Yeah.
fun with it. And there's a lot of this movie, I think, in Psycho later on. I think Hitchcock borrowed some from this, or was inspired by it anyway, if not borrowed.
Kind of had you on the edge of your seat because you're thinking, okay, they got to find the body. Are they going to find it? And then it's like, no. And it's like, okay, so.
So you see, now you went into this.
I
saying that
did,
you-
and-
now you're praising it.
Yeah.
It's a movie that may creep up on you if you can
Yeah.
if you could stand
It
reading
did,
the
yeah.
subtitles and
Yeah.
go with it like that. It's this Diabolique by Clouseau. So thanks. We're gonna get together again soon and talk about another movie, and you can listen to us do it. We'll be back.
Coming up next is an interview with romance novelist Jennifer Blake. She is an award-winning international bestseller, known as the Steel Magnolia, and she was here in town for the Oklahoma Writers Federation conference a month ago and was gracious enough to sit down and talk with me about writing romance. I think you'll enjoy what she had to say. Jennifer, what inspired you to write Dawn Encounter?
Dawn Encounter is actually book number 2 in my Masters at Arms series. Several years ago, I was reading a little research bit about the famous sword masters of New Orleans. In the 1840s, there was a whole street, Exchange Alley, that was dedicated to sword masters, the guys who taught fencing to the gentlemen of New Orleans so that they could save their lives during duels. And these guys were so special because they were a part of society. They were accepted by men, but they were not the type of men that you brought home to introduce to your daughters. So they were just fascinating guys.
Well, I think it's very fascinating. 1840s, we think of that as a time when everybody has a gun.
Right. It was the very end of dueling with swords, and it was really it only took place in New Orleans about that time. So after that, the Americans came in, but it was a part of the French, aristocratic French Creole culture.
Well, I noticed in Dawn Encounter you have a Spanish character in
Yes.
here as well, and
Yes.
I think most of us don't remember or never knew that there was a fair amount of Spanish influence in New Orleans.
Oh yes, the Spanish were actually in New Orleans longer than the French, in terms of years. And that's one thing that I wanted to bring out: what a diverse culture that was in New Orleans at that time. And so some of the other sword masters will be Italian or whatever.
Well, in fact, the hero of Dawn Encounter is an Irishman.
Exactly.
And from a not very, very nice part of town, shall we say.
Well, we have to rehabilitate him.
Right.
But the Irish did begin to appear in New Orleans in the 1820s, and so they were very much a part of the culture. And I did want to come up with another hero, maybe not quite so foreign to the reading public.
But the heroine is definitely French Creole.
Right.
and with lots and lots of money, which is always helpful.
Oh, well, you know, we must have the glamour aspect. But no, she is French Creole, so many of them are in these books, because I wanted to recreate New Orleans at that time period, and in much the same way that Georgette Heyer did for Regency England, to show the reader what it was like in New Orleans then. And you do that by introducing the culture and the customs and all the things that you can do by having a French Creole heroine.
So you've done a tremendous amount of research.
Yes, well, that's my favorite thing. I get to go down to New Orleans.
Oh, darn.
Yeah. But there's a wonderful place, the Historic New Orleans Collection down there, that has so much wonderful research. And then after writing so many books set in New Orleans, Louisiana, over so many years, I have quite a large research library myself. But that's the fun part. And for this series, I actually created a database of research, so that if anything I want to know now, I can just go on the computer, do a search command, and find it. So,
well, that must make it a lot
much
easier to sit down and write. Now, you write contemporaries as well as historicals.
Yes, I have written several contemporaries, and my most recent ones was my Louisiana Gentleman series. And to do that, I created my own little town in Louisiana and populated it with Louisiana gentleman type heroes, because I wanted to show, basically, it's like, let me show you how we live in Louisiana. And I wanted to create a sense of community and family values and what's important to us in Louisiana, and let people see that.
Well, I think you've done a very good job of that. I felt like
thank you.
I was pretty comfortable in 1840s New Orleans.
Good.
I'm not sure if I could navigate today after reading that.
Well,
but there is a lot of that detail that it's kind of gently there, and
Good.
You know, it comes up in the story.
Well, I'm glad it doesn't just strike you in the face.
Well, that would be a little distracting from the perils of Lisette and Kate O'Neill.
Right.
They actually, the plot is she is a young widow because of a duel by this Irish gentleman, and yet a whispering campaign starts. So is that something that actually would have happened?
Oh, very much so. It was a very conservative society, and there were certain rules that you just did not break. And I think that in a way, this is more fun to write about these days, because we have so few rules anymore that it gives you a much greater framework, a much better framework to create a story around. But yeah, he finds her in a cemetery, laid out on the tombstone as if she's trying to commit suicide, and there's a little twist at the end that I enjoyed putting in there about that. So,
well, and being the typical romantic hero, he he had to ride to the rescue.
Oh, of course he did. He had no choice.
Well, I enjoyed very much the group of young men that he associated with. They were all fencing masters of one kind or another,
right?
And yet they were both highly competitive and yet also very supportive of each other.
Yes, as they during the course of the series, they create a brotherhood. And this is another thing that I wanted to show, that they could be both competitive and friends. But with the Swordmasters, what I wanted to do was to create their own circle within the circle of New Orleans, and then their family circles within that circle. So it's like creating layers and layers that I hope will please readers.
Well, it's obvious that although gentlemen might invite them out to dinner or to go to the quadroon ball or something like that, they're, as you said, they're not going to be invited into somebody's home if there are young ladies present.
Right.
And so
I have to be very careful how I put them in this, how I get these people together. It's getting to be a problem because they're not supposed to be there.
Right. Well, one of the other things that ran through here was the prevalence of dueling. Obviously,
Yes.
you've got all of these swordmasters, so
Right.
apparently gentlemen of this period did quite a lot of that.
They were very proud, and they had their standards that you did not trespass against, and if you did, it was going to be a very you were going to have a problem. And you know, the interesting thing, I've had a couple of emails from men readers about this. It's such a shame dueling went out of style because there's so many things these days you can't do. You know, you can't resent an insult, because if you assault somebody, you're going to go to jail when they're the ones who started the whole thing. So you know, there were things that were good about dueling, and of course things that were bad. But you know, sometimes we wish we had something to help level society a little bit more, make it where men could fight for what they believe.
Right. Well, but in here, a nice young man loses his life over a duel.
Right.
We have a very brief moment. Do you have another book coming out?
Oh, absolutely. Rogue Salute will be out in January of 2007, and this guy is an Italian swordmaster.
Sounds pretty exciting to me.
I had fun writing him.
Thank you so much, Jennifer, for
My
being
pleasure.
with us. Jennifer Blake has been telling us about Dawn Encounter. You can find it at your library and your favorite bookstore.
Hi, I'm Donna Morris, Executive Director of the Metropolitan Library System. 2007 will mark Oklahoma's centennial year. 100 years is a long time, but public libraries have been part of this community since the very beginning. And we're still exactly the same as we've been all along, your primary source for information and entertainment. The delivery methods are different now than in the early days. Today we provide free wireless access, free internet access, DVDs, CDs, free programming for people of all ages, along with the traditional books, magazines, and newspapers. But what hasn't changed is our dedication to helping you find exactly what you need. Librarians continue to be the guides to the up-to-date world of information, and our librarians at MLS are the best in the business. So visit your neighborhood MLS library soon, and as they say in the world of libraries, come check us out.
Doug and I are back. That means it's Writer's Almanac, and you have a poet.
I have a poet for you, born on August 23rd.
And it's one that everybody should know, but doesn't.
But, well, if you're a
don't
certain
know.
age,
Right.
you know it. William Ernest Henley, author of the poem Invictus. Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole. Ending, I am the master of my fate, I am the captain of my soul. People know that. August 24th was the birthday of Mason Williams, an award-winning comedy writer for the Smothers Brothers and composer of the song Classical Gas from Oklahoma.
Hey, very good. And if you want to find out more about these gentlemen or any of the books that we've talked about today, check us out at the library or our website, www.metrolibrary.org. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you again next time.